Amelia Harper pushed through the heavy glass doors of the Harper family's Palo Alto mansion, my heart hammering like a drum in my chest. The room ahead sparkles with wealth chandeliers, cast golden light marble gleams underfoot, and the sharp clink of Rolexes and wine glasses fills the air. My family Silicon Valley's tech elite swarms the conference room, their tailored suits and smug grins screaming power. I'm the outsider 34 in a worn jacket, clutching a scratched iPad that holds a secret big enough to topple their world. They don't see me coming. Not yet. Claire Morgan. My cousin locks eyes with me, her smile sharp as a blade. Amelia still rolling in that junkyard Honda. When you gonna step up, huh? Her words cut, and laughter ripples from the others, each chuckle a jab at my so-called failure. Nathan Brooks leans forward, his high-tech watch flashing voice dripping with pity. Freelancing still gotta be tough scraping by like that. Their gazes pin me, the poor relation, the nobody who doesn't belong in their shiny empire. My fingers tighten around the iPad, where NovaBio's files, my biotech juggernaut worth $250 million, lie ready to rewrite this story. I slide into a seat, their mockery buzzing like static. Uncle Edward Harper stands tall, preaching about HarperTech's next big win, his eyes skipping over me like I'm invisible. Invisible. That's been my strength, my shield. While they flashed their wealth, I built something real, something they can't touch. My pulse races, but I keep my face still a mask of calm. They think they've got me figured out, boxed in as the family loser. But I'm holding dynamite and the fuse is lit. Claire's smirk lingers, Nathan's pity stings, but I feel a fire growing inside. Laugh now, I think, my grip firm on the iPad. You're about to see who's been playing the real game. This isn't just a meeting, it's a battlefield, and I'm armed. Have you ever been written off, counted out before you could show your strength? Drop it in the comments, stick with me, and watch how I make a family of giants crumble when they learn the truth about me. Here I am, Amelia Harper, 34 years old, standing on the edge of a glittering battlefield. My family's annual tech conference, in a Palo Alto mansion that screams Silicon Valley wealth. The air hums with power. Glass walls reflect the valley's skyline. And my relatives, the Harpers, move like sharks in their designer suits, their voices loud with talk of startups and stock options. I'm the misfit, the quiet one in a thrift store blazer, my scuffed sneakers silent on the marble floor. My cracked iPad tucked under my arm holds a secret that could shake this room to its core. To them, I'm the failure, the cousin scraping by on freelance coding gigs driving a 10-year-old Honda Accord while they zip around in Lamborghinis. They're wrong. I've built something bigger and they're about to find out. The Harpers are tech royalty, their name etched into Silicon Valley's history. It all started with my grandmother, Margaret Harper, who launched HarperTech in the 80s, back when the internet was just a whisper. She wasn't chasing fame or fortune. She saw tech as a tool to lift people up to solve problems that mattered. When I was 16, a car crash stole my parents and Grandma Margaret took me in. Her San Jose bungalow became my home, her kitchen table, my classroom. She'd pour tea, spread out biotech papers, and talk about gene editing, about CRISPR, about building a future with purpose. Amelia, she'd say, her voice firm, don't chase shine, chase substance. That's what lasts. I hung on every word while my cousins Claire Morgan and Nathan Brooks got sports cars and trust funds. Grandma's death left us each a modest inheritance. Claire and Nathan burned theirs on flashy startups that tanked or penthouses with valley views. I chose differently. I lived lean in a tiny apartment, funneling every dollar into a dream. Grandma sparked NovaBio, a biotech company I built in secret, hidden behind anonymous LLCs. It's worth $250 million now, a powerhouse of gene therapies changing lives. All the proof lives on my iPad, locked and loaded, waiting for the moment I decide to pull the trigger. They don't suspect a thing, not Claire, not Nathan, not Uncle Edward, who rules HarperTech like a king. This conference is their playground, a 3-day flex of wealth and ego. Claire will gush about her AI investments, Nathan will strut his blockchain wins, and Edward will preach about the Harper legacy, all while tossing pitying glances my way. Amelia still tinkering in coffee shops, they'll say, Or that Honda's a relic. Each dig lands sharp and heavy, but I've learned to let it slide. They think they're giants untouchable, their success measured in headlines and net worth. But Grandma taught me to play smarter, to let them underestimate me while I built an empire they can't fathom. I stepped toward the conference room, the buzz of their voices growing louder, a wall of arrogance I'm ready to breach. My fingers brush the iPad, my secret humming beneath the screen. They've spent years laughing, thinking I'm nothing. But I'm not here for their approval. I'm here to show them what real strength looks like, what it means to honor a legacy. Ever been counted out by people who should have known better? Tell me in the comments and let's see how this showdown unfolds. The Palo Alto mansion pulses with the kind of swagger only Silicon Valley can muster. Its glass walls catch the morning sun, throwing light across a conference room where my family, the Harpers, hold court. I'm Amelia Harper, 34, perched at the table's edge, my worn blazer and scuffed sneakers, a stark contrast to the polished suits and gleaming smartwatches around me. My cracked iPad sits quiet in my lap, a secret weapon they'd never suspect. My cousins Claire Morgan and Nathan Brooks trade boasts about their latest tech ventures, their voices sharp with the confidence of untouchable wealth. Uncle Edward Harper looms at the head, his gaze sliding over me like I'm a ghost. To them, I'm the family nobody, the freelancer scraping by driving a beat-up Honda Accord while they flaunt Teslas. They don't see the spark in me, the one my grandmother Margaret Harper lit long ago, but it's there, burning, waiting. The Harpers are a dynasty, their name synonymous with tech's golden age. Grandma Margaret started it all in the 80s, turning a single software idea into HarperTech, a pioneer of the early internet. She wasn't about headlines or stock splits. She built tools to solve real problems to make lives better. When I was 16, a car crash took my parents, and Grandma took me in. Her San Jose bungalow was my sanctuary. Nights were spent at her kitchen table, poring over biotech journals, her voice steady as she explained gene editing and patient investing. Amelia, she'd say, I's fierce success isn't about flash. It's about building something true, something that endures. Those lessons sank deep, even as my cousins got trust funds and sports cars chasing clout instead of substance. Now Edward kicks off the conference, his tone commanding. HarperTech's next IPO will cement our dominance, he says, flipping through slides of profit margins and market shares. Claire jumps in, her voice smug as she touts her AI startup already overhyped and overfunded. It's a total disruptor, she brags, then flicks her eyes my way, smirking. Not that you'd get it, Amelia. Still coding websites in your little coffee shop? The room snickers and my jaw tightens, but I keep my face still. Nathan piles on his smartwatch, catching the light. What's your latest gig, Amelia? An app for your ancient Honda. Their laughter stabs, but I grip my iPad, its files on NovaBio, my biotech empire worth $250 million humming with power. I stay silent. The time's not right, but it's coming. Edward shifts focus, his voice dropping. We need to discuss the old HarperTech headquarters, he says, pulling up an image of Grandma's building, sleek redwood lined, a symbol of her vision for tech with heart. It's on land worth $60 million. I say we sell, demolish it, and build a cutting-edge AI hub. My heart lurches. That building is Grandma's legacy, her belief in progress over profit. I raise my hand, my voice calm but firm. That headquarters means something. Grandma built it to inspire, not to be flipped for cash. Could we keep it, maybe make it a public innovation space? Silence falls heavy and cold. Edward's smile is thin, dismissive. Amelia, nostalgia doesn't drive revenue. You wouldn't know about real estate value, would you? Claire leans toward Nathan, her whisper loud. She probably thinks a spreadsheet's just a fancy napkin. Nathan grins, his eyes cruel. Let the big players handle this, Amelia. Stick to your freelance hustle. The words cut deep, their familiar sting settling in my chest. They don't know I've built NovaBio, snapping up biotech patents, securing hospital deals, all in secret. They don't know I'm outplaying them at their own game. As the session breaks, I slip into the mansion's garden, jasmine curling around me like a quiet embrace. Grandma's voice echoes, "Let them doubt you, Amelia. It's your edge." My fingers trace the iPad, my secret, a steady pulse. They think they're kings, but I've been forging my own crown. Out here with the valley sprawling below, I feel it, the shift, the moment I've been building toward. They've mocked me for years, but I'm no joke. I'm the storm they never saw coming. Morning light floods the Palo Alto mansion, sharp and unyielding, as the second day of the Harper family conference begins. I, Amelia Harper, sit at the polished conference table, my cracked iPad, a quiet defiance against the sleek gadgets of my relatives. The room buzzes with their arrogance, Claire Morgan's clipped boasts about her AI ventures, Nathan Brooks's smug updates on his blockchain wins, and Uncle Edward Harper's commanding presence steering the show like a tech titan. Their eyes flick past me, 34 in my faded blazer, as if I'm a glitch in their perfect system. They see a freelancer, a nobody, driving a rusty Honda Accord. They don't see the fire I've nurtured, the one Grandma Margaret sparked years ago, ready to ignite. Edward stands, his voice slicing through the chatter. "Let's lock in the sale of the old HarperTech headquarters," he declares, flashing a slide of a futuristic AI complex, all glass and flash set to erase Grandma's redwood-lined legacy. The developers are offering $65 million. Construction starts next quarter. My stomach churns. That building is Grandma's heart, her vision of tech for progress, not profit. I try to speak, my hand half raised. What if we kept it as a community hub? It could carry Grandma's vision forward. Nathan cuts me off, his smirk razor sharp. "Amelia, you've got no stake in this." "Stick to your little coding gigs," Claire laughs, her voice dripping venom. "Yeah, maybe code an app for that junkyard Honda of yours." The room roars their mockery, a familiar blade. But I hold steady, my iPad warm with the truth of NovaBio, my $250 million biotech empire. Then Edward drops a grenade. "One more thing," he says, his eyes gleaming with strategy. "There's a biotech startup, NovaBio, disrupting our market. I've got friends at the regulatory board. We can complicate their approvals, push them to sell cheap." My heart stops. NovaBio is mine, built in secret with Grandma's lessons hidden behind layers of LLCs. They're plotting to crush me, blind to the fact I'm sitting right here. I keep my face blank, but my mind races. Under the table, I text James Patel, my lawyer. "They're targeting NovaBio. Get the defense files ready. Tomorrow's go time." His reply pings back. "All set." "You've got this, Amelia." The tension spikes as Nathan leans in, his voice low, cruel. "Hey, Amelia, seen my girlfriend's new TechCrunch post she's keynoting next month. You wouldn't get it, she's on another level." His words dig into an old wound. Years ago, I loved Nathan. Thought we shared something. He brushed me off, said I wasn't big enough for his world. Now he's twisting the knife, flaunting his influencer girlfriend. I meet his gaze, my voice cool. "Sounds like she's got it all, Nathan." "I'm good where I am." He scoffs, turning away, but the hurt sharpens my focus. I'm not here for his approval, I'm here for justice. Later, Sophie Ellis, my cousin and only ally, catches me in the hallway, her designer sweater soft, but her eyes fierce. "Amelia Edwards, dead set on selling the headquarters," she whispers. "And this NovaBio attack, he's pulling every string to bury them. You've got to fight." I nod her support, a lifeline. "I will, Sophie. I'm ready." She smiles, squeezing my hand. "Grandma always said you were the one who truly got it." Her words anchor me, a reminder of why I'm doing this, not for their respect, but for Grandma's legacy. In my guest room, I lock the door and open my iPad. Files flood the screen, NovaBio's patents, contracts, legal defenses against Edward's regulatory threats. $250 million built from Grandma's small inheritance and my relentless hustle. My cousins squandered their shares on failed startups. I built a future. I call James, my voice steady. "Send the full portfolio. Ownership records, shareholder docs, everything. It's time to show them." He chuckles. "Margaret's legacy lives in you." "It's bulletproof, Amelia." "Go for it." I stand at the window, the valley's lights pulsing below like a digital heartbeat. Their laughter, their schemes, their cruelty, it's all kindling now. They think they're giants, but I've been scaling heights they can't imagine. Tomorrow I'll step out of the shadows and they'll see the truth. The storm is coming, and I'm its center. The third day of the Harper family conference hums with electric tension. The Palo Alto mansion's sleek conference room, a battlefield of egos. I, Amelia Harper, stand at the edge, my cracked iPad, a quiet grenade in my hands. My family, Uncle Edward Harper, cousins Claire Morgan and Nathan Brooks, lounge in their designer gear, their smartwatches glinting, their voices loud with self-assured boasts. They see me as nothing, a 34-year-old nobody in a thrift store blazer scraping by on freelance gigs driving a battered Honda Accord. They're about to learn how wrong they are. Today I rewrite their story. Edward claps sharply, his voice commanding. Personal financial updates. Let's see who's carrying the Harper legacy. Claire goes first, her slides flashing inflated numbers for her AI startup, her tone smug. Disrupting the market, she brags, tossing her hair. Nathan follows, droning about blockchain, wins his custom watch, catching the light. When my turn comes, the room shifts, smirks, spread eyes roll. Claire leans to Nathan, her whisper cutting. What's Amelia got? A Venmo log from her coffee shop hustle. Laughter stabs the air, but I stand heart-pounding, face calm. I walk to the projector, iPad in hand, ready to detonate. I tap the screen, and a slide blazes to life. NovaBio, a biotech powerhouse revolutionizing gene editing. This is my work, I say, my voice steady clear. NovaBio is worth $250 million. And I'm its founder. The room freezes, a collective gasp, sucking the air out. Claire's jaw drops, her nails clawing the table. Nathan's eyes widen, his watch forgotten. Edward's pen slips clattering to the floor. I click again, showing patents, hospital contracts, financials. I built this with Grandma Margaret's lessons, patience, purpose, impact. While you chased headlines, I changed lives. I pull up another document, my gaze locking on Edward. Your regulatory attack on NovaBio, that was aimed at me. My lawyer James Patel has our defenses locked tight. Push further, and HarperTech will pay the price. Chaos erupts. Claire bolts upright, her voice shrill. This is insane. You can't own NovaBio. You live in a shoebox. Nathan stares mute, his face pale. Sophie Ellis, my one true ally, grins wide, her slow clap echoing. Grandma would be thrilled, Amelia, she says, her voice warm, cutting through the storm. Edward recovers, his tone sharp. This is impossible. You're a freelancer, Amelia. How did you hide this? I meet his eyes, unflinching. I hid it because I didn't need your validation. NovaBio is about saving lives, not stroking egos. Claire's eyes narrow, her voice venomous. You're bluffing. You drive a junk heap. You're nobody. I smile, cool and steady. Choices. Claire, I chose substance over show. You didn't. The room buzzes, their shock a living pulse. I've dropped the first blow and they're reeling. But I'm not done. The real fight is just beginning. The Palo Alto mansion's conference room feels like it's holding its breath, the air charged with the fallout of my revelation. I, Amelia Harper, stand tall, my cracked iPad a scepter of truth. I've just unmasked NovaBio as my creation, a biotech titan worth $250 million, and my family, Uncle Edward Harper, cousins Claire Morgan and Nathan Brooks, sits stunned, their smugness shattered. Their eyes, once sharp with mockery, now dart with disbelief. They saw me as a 34-year-old nobody, a freelancer in a faded blazer driving a rusty Honda Accord. Now the tables are turning and I'm not finished. I step closer to Nathan, his rejection from years ago, a cold dismissal when I dared to love him burning in my chest. You said I wasn't enough, Nathan, I say, my voice low-cutting. You told me I'd never make it in your world. Look at us now. Who's really playing small? His face crumples, eyes dropping to the table, no trace of his usual swagger. The room feels the weight of his silence, his regret a heavy shadow. I let it linger, then turn to the projector, tapping my iPad to reveal the final blow. A new slide flashes. HarperTech shareholder records my name tied to 30% of the company bought through years of silent proxy deals. This, I say, my voice steady, gives me the power to stop your plan to sell Grandma Margaret's headquarters. Edward lurches forward, his face ashen. That's impossible! He roars, his fist hitting the table. We'd have known I hold his gaze unshaken. You didn't know because you never looked. You were too busy laughing at my Honda to see what I was building. Claire's voice cracks through the chaos. You can't just take control like this. You're nothing. Her desperation is raw, her mask of superiority gone. I smile, calm, but fierce. I'm not taking control, Claire. I'm saving Grandma's legacy. She built HarperTech for progress, not your egos. I turn to Edward, his strategist's calm, unraveling. You want to tear down her headquarters for a quick profit, I'm blocking it. This family will honor her vision tech for people, not just power. Sophie Ellis, my only ally, rises her applause sharp and proud. Grandma would be overjoyed, Amelia. She says, her voice ringing. You're the true Harper. Nathan tries to speak, his voice barely audible. Amelia, I was wrong about you. I cut him off, my tone ice cold. I don't need your apologies, Nathan. I needed you to see me and you didn't. Edward tries one last play, his voice softer, calculating. We could work together, Amelia. Merge our visions. I shake my head. On my terms, Edward. Starting with keeping that headquarters. I step back, my iPad tucked under my arm, the room's energy shifting. Their shock, their scrambling, it's proof I've rewritten the rules. I'm no longer the poor cousin they mocked. I'm the one steering the future, holding Grandma's torch high. The power has flipped, and they'll never underestimate me again. The Palo Alto mansion feels like it's catching its breath, the conference room still buzzing from the bomb Amelia Harper just dropped. My revelation, NovaBio, my $250 million biotech empire, and my 30% stake in HarperTech has left my family reeling. Uncle Edward Harper, cousins Claire Morgan and Nathan Brooks sit frozen, their once smug faces now a mix of shock and calculation. I'm no longer the 34-year-old nobody in a thrift store blazer driving a beat-up Honda Accord. I'm a force they can't ignore, and they're scrambling to keep up with the new reality. Edward moves first, his voice smoother, now laced with a respect he never showed before. Amelia, let's sit down at my club tomorrow, he says, leaning forward, eyes sharp. NovaBio and HarperTech could dominate together. Partners, you and me. It's a power play dressed as an offer. His need to control is clear as the polished table between us. I keep my face steady, my voice calm. I'll think about it, Edward, but any deal follows Grandma Margaret's rules. Purpose over profit. He nods, jaw tight, unused to being met on equal ground. For the first time, I'm not just in the room, I'm shaping it. Claire corners me later, her heels clicking on the mansion's marble floor, her smile too bright, too forced. Amelia, you're a genius. I had no clue you were such a player, she gushes, tossing her hair. Let's do lunch, strategize, like family. Her sudden friendliness reeks of opportunism, a far cry from her years of jabs about my pathetic life. I keep my tone polite, cool. I'm swamped with NovaBio Claire, maybe later. Her eyes flash with frustration, but she backs off, already plotting her next move. She doesn't care about me, she wants a piece of my power. Nathan's approach hits harder. He catches me in the garden, the evening air thick with jasmine. His usual cockiness is gone, his voice low, almost broken. Amelia. I screwed up, he says, eyes on the ground. Back then and now. I didn't see you. I'm sorry. His words stir the old hurt, his rejection when I loved him, his cruel flaunting of his new girlfriend. But I'm past needing his validation. You saw what you wanted, Nathan. I say, my voice firm. I needed your faith, not your regret. We're done here. He nods, shoulders sagging, and walks away, the weight of his mistake heavy. It's not victory, it's release. Sophie Ellis finds me later, pulling me into a warm hug. You were unstoppable in there, she says, her eyes bright with pride. Grandma's cheering from above, I swear. We sit under the stars, the valley's lights sprawling below, and I feel a warmth I'd almost forgotten. Sophie's been my anchor, never judging, always seeing me. We'll keep her vision alive, I tell her, and her nod is fierce, a promise. With her in my corner, I know I'm not alone. I turn my focus to Grandma's headquarters, the one Edward wanted to bulldoze. I announce plans to make it a non-profit biotech hub, a place for students and startups to chase breakthroughs without chasing dollars. Some family members nod impressed, others like Claire scoff, but I don't care. This is what Grandma Margaret stood for, tech that lifts, not just profits. I think of Silicon Valley's obsession with hype, how it blinds people to what matters. My family bought into that lie, but I didn't. I chose substance, and it's built something they can't touch. Lillian Carter, our family's longtime housekeeper, slips into my room with a cup of tea, her smile soft. "Miss Amelia, you've made your grandmother proud," she says, her voice warm as the drink. "She always knew you'd carry her heart." Her words hit deep, stronger than any boardroom win. I'm not just fighting for myself. I'm honoring a legacy, one that's worth more than all their stock portfolios. The Palo Alto mansion shrinks in my rearview mirror as I steer my faithful Honda Accord toward my San Jose apartment, the Silicon Valley lights fading into dusk. I'm Amelia Harper, 34, no longer the shadow my family mocked. The Harper Conference is done, my truth laid bare. NovaBio, my biotech empire worth $250 million, and my 30% stake in HarperTech enough to save Grandma Margaret's headquarters. Edward Clare. Nathan, they truly saw me for the first time. But as the road stretches ahead, I realize their gazes don't define me. I'm free, anchored in the principles Grandma instilled, living a life that's mine. My days stay quiet, same small apartment, same worn blazer, same morning spent with coffee and biotech reports. NovaBio thrives its gene therapies, touching lives while Grandma's headquarters transforms into a vibrant hub for young dreamers. Students and startups flood its halls, chasing ideas that matter, not just money. I walk those redwood-lined corridors, sometimes feeling Grandma's spirit in every beam, her vision of tech for good reborn. My family still chases headlines, Edward with his IPOs, Claire with her AI hype, but I've found something deeper, a purpose that outshines their flash. Sophie Ellis remains my rock, my true ally. We meet for coffee, scheming ways to grow Grandma's legacy, our laughter warm against the valley's hustle. The others, Edward, Claire, Nathan, keep their distance. Their partnership offers fading when I hold fast to my values. I forgive their years of scorn, but I draw lines, choosing bonds that lift me, not drag me down. Silicon Valley's glitter tempts, but I'm rooted my worth measured in impact, not Instagram likes. Grandma's words guide me. Still, real wealth is what you build, not what you flaunt. I learned to grind in silence, to let doubts fuel my fire. When the world wrote me off, I learned to set boundaries, forgive, but don't let toxic voices dim your shine. These lessons aren't just mine. They're for anyone who's been overlooked, fighting to rise. I park my Honda, its engine ticking softly, my iPad on the seat, its cracked screen a badge of my journey. I smile, hearing Grandma's voice, "Shine for you, Amelia." I am every day. So, what's your story ever been counted out only to prove them wrong? Drop it in the comments, hit that like button, and let's keep this spark alive. The greatest strength isn't shouting your worth, it's living it unapologetically until the world can't look away.